There are days when I wake up and I look back over the last almost 40 years and, you know, I worry. Did we do enough? Did I do enough?
He's ruthlessly honest most of the time, which I think is a big part of why he's gotten as far as he's gotten.
He's just somebody that's not afraid of being in the mix, and at the same time is not looking for the attaboy on his back.
He's a really strong people person, and I think that is enhanced by his big thinking, his insatiable curiosity, and his strategic vision. And I think those things combine into an understanding of how people work together.
He has done tremendous things to preserve and protect the things and the people that we all find to be so important about Hawaii.
For his lifelong work to preserve the beauty and vitality of our islands, the Historic Hawaii Foundation is proud to honor Kelvin Taketa as the 2017 Kamaaina of the Year.
I felt like I'd had this remarkable childhood and young adulthood as a consequence of growing up here, and I wanted to give back and perpetuate that. The greatest, earliest influence in my life was my maternal grandfather, who had come to Hawaii from Japan as a young man and had started a very successful construction company. What was so interesting about him was I saw the way that he interacted with people, from the laborers that worked for the construction company to people like the mayor or the governor, and I was amazed at how he treated everybody the same. Probably the greatest single value that I brought into the nonprofit sector, or the interest in it, was the opportunity to work with people across the board. The idea of going to work for a nonprofit like the Nature Conservancy was pure happenstance. It happened because my college roommate was working for the Nature Conservancy, and he told me that they were opening an office here. And I had this amazing interaction with the guy who would end up being my lifelong mentor, Sam Cook. That changed everything.
What Kelvin was able to do is he was able to reach through a broad cross-section of the community, for everybody from the mature business people to cultural practitioners to the rich to the poor. The element that he provided, which helped solidify the work that the Conservancy did, really was inspiration.
The two things the Nature Conservancy really put on the map was raising an awareness in the minds of the people of Hawaii that we had this natural legacy that was slipping through our fingers. There were literally species that were found nowhere else in the world, these beautiful crimson forest birds that were becoming extinct right in front of our eyes. And that if we didn't do something about it, they would all go away.
He would be the last to roll out a map of the state of Hawaii and said, if it wasn't for the Nature Conservancy under my leadership, all these places would no longer be what they currently are. But that's the case.
I put a deal together for us to preserve a bunch of land on Molokai, and we're having sort of the blessing or the opening of the preserve there, and I was talking to one of the major donors, and I said to him, thank you for all you've done to make this possible. And he said to me, thank you, because this is the most important thing I've done in my life. And for me, that became probably the moment when I understood how important philanthropy was, not just for the people that were benefited by the philanthropy, but what it did for the person themselves.
One trait that Kelvin has is he doesn't get amnesia. He doesn't forget where he's come from, nor does he forget the people that we're ultimately trying to serve.
His unique gift is to help people within different communities understand the unique role that they play in helping to make Hawaii a better place.
We're the steward of 800 funds and growing at the foundation, and I like to say behind every one of those funds is a story about a person who chose to give back. And that act is so inspirational in and of itself. You know, some of the greatest stories we have of people that have made a profound difference in people's lives is with a pretty small amount of money. So this is not a game just for rich people, this is a game for everyone.
He always says you move to the fast water. You want to make the biggest impact, you go where the water's moving fast. And I think that implies that it's not going to be a safe place. You better kind of buckle up and get ready. But he likes the fast water.
He's taken on everything from the usual, which is the environment and education, but he's also gotten heavily involved in trying to improve government. And that's something that very, very few people have had the courage to try to do.
The Freshwater Initiative recognized that Hawaii was on a pathway towards a future crisis. I mean, he had the foresight to lead an effort and to establish the goal of bringing back 100 million gallons of fresh water a day, which meant bringing stakeholders that otherwise would not come to the table, to be at the table, have conversations. We were convening them in boardrooms and trying to find common ground. And as a result of it, we're well on our way and would not be here without him.
We're starting to see some remarkable results from the work we do when we work together. We brought 7 public middle schools together to work on how they might improve the outcomes for at-risk middle school kids, and we're beginning to see now that those kids are now transitioning and graduating from 9th grade on track and on time at a much higher rate than they were before. That's an effort of those schools, the counselors, the principals, the teachers all working together.
I think the challenges in our state are the same challenges that many other cities and states face as we modernize. Our communities either knit together or they break apart. And our hope is that, they continue to knit together, that we share experiences, that we tackle problems together, that we protect our most vulnerable, that we lift each other up as we lift our own selves. And that's the vision, I think, that he holds for the rest of us.
The community that we see today would be less livable, less robust, less, in a lot of ways, it would be less if Kelvin Taketa hadn't been here.
Kelvin is rooted in Hawaii, not just where it's going to be, but more importantly, in fact, where we were a long time ago. That is important to him, and that to me is really what a Kamaaina is, somebody who cares about our past to help frame our future.
My hope for the future is that people increase their level of awareness about the importance and the opportunities of making a difference in Hawaii, and will find their way to each other so that they can work together and create enough of a critical mass to make the kind of difference that we aspire to make.